Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning into the video, watching the video. I want to do a quick review here, a comparison between the 9mm and the 45 ACP. And let me give you a little history of the 45 ACP first, then we'll go into the 9mm. Actually, during World War II, they used to use the 38 caliber bullets. Okay. I don't know, in the Philippines during World War II. 38 was not doing the job on the enemy. Enemies normally were wrapped up in bamboo, in swashi, which is a kind of bamboo. They wrap themselves up and they would be high on something and they would charge at the troops. And the 38s were not stopping them. They weren't penetrating. They didn't have the penetrative power during World War II. So and the M1 really wasn't much better than that either. So the military designed the 45 ACP. They designed the 230 ball round. Okay, this particular ball round was made to burst through due to the deadly damage this a round could produce. So that is where actually the 45 ACP was actually developed for military use during the World War II to stop the enemy. Okay, and because of the ballistics of the bullet and the power behind this bullet. Now the 9mm, okay, they were using the 45 for a long time in the military. And what was happening, a lot of it's got to do with the United Nations, NATO, whatever. They came up with the NATO 9mm round. And the 124 grain full metal jacket become the NATO round because they wanted to wound, not to kill. Okay, this is similar to the 38 special, but it is a higher capacity. There is better bullets in the 9mm now to give a little bit more ballistics, but basically this is comparable to the 38. Now there is better bullets, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of different bullets, but this is going back to the 38 now because they wanted a round that would wound, not kill. Okay, and that's the basic reason they have this round. Okay, it's a NATO round, other governments agree with it, and it's for wounding, not for killing. Okay, but the 45 has a very deadly history, and it is a better bullet. It actually, 8 rounds of 45 will do anything you want, unless you can't hit what you're aiming at. Okay, so you could have 10 rounds of 45 or 30 rounds of 9mm. Basically, they go by a comparison, and this is a 9mm bullet is 2.5 of these equal 1 of these. So what you're looking at the round count, actually it's almost roughly 3. So they're saying you'd have to hit somebody 3 times with a 9mm to equal 45. Granted, there's a little bit better rounds, so it might even be 2. So a 10-shot clip, 10 bullets, a magazine with 10 of these is equal to about 25 of these. So that's why they're higher capacity. The NATO figured the higher capacity, they could fire more and wound the enemy. The 45 ACP, look into your history, look into some of the militaries. Actually, there is military videos by medical professionals that show military doctors that have films of a victim and that was hit, okay? 43 times with a 9mm, okay? During the military, hit 43 times with this, okay? Then had to be shot with 2 12-gauge slugs to stop them. There's no drugs or alcohol, found in this military, and so you have to understand that the 9mm you need more rounds because it's not as effective than a 45. And granted, if you're right on top of the person, like probably the Zimmerman case, you'll probably kill him if you get a perfect shot. But there is also the fact of over-penetration with the 9mm. It will over-penetrate quite a bit, whereas the 45 has a harder hitting power. It's going to slow down. It's not. The 9mm is a little bit more accurate because of its trajectory and it's a light bullet, but the 9 If you hit it with them, you're going to put it down. And that's why the 45 was actually discovered and invented, was for that. If it takes 2 or 3 rounds of these to equal one of these, you're going to have a big magazine. But I did want to show you that, and comparisons. That's why the military went to the 9mm, not because it was more effective, because it was more politically correct, and because it was a NATO round, agreed by all the governments and whatever. But this is actually a little bit better than a 38. Still the standby 45 is the best round that they have for this, and hopefully maybe the military will go back to this one day. I'm not sure, but there's a big comparison out here. What you're seeing here, and I'm not putting it because of the preferential thing. This is actually a 45 ACP automatic, and this will hold a total of 6 of these. Okay, and granted, yes, you can get something this big that'll hold maybe 10 9mm, but why would you need it if you have a 45? Why would you need it? It's just a smaller round. There's no way it's going to be more effective than the 45. They've done a lot of studies. Yeah, there's bullet placement and all that, but there's no substitute for this size of a bullet. Hitting is going to put you down faster than this 9mm. The 9mm have higher chance of over penetration with the hollow points and the different loads they make. This, if you get a low recoil 230 grain bullet, it's not going to over penetrate. Complies to the FBI standard of 12 inches. Better is 18 inches of penetration is really good. That's what you really recommend. 10 probably would be the basic minimum for penetration. And like I say, those are facts, the military facts that I did give you. And you can look that right up on the internet anywhere. There's so much documentation out there. You have to understand that, there's all power ballistics look good on paper, and a lot of muzzle energy coming out of the muzzle, but most of that is wasted coming out of the barrel. John Browning's very first 1911, very, 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 very good ergonomics. That was really, and like I say, with the 45 caliber, it's just a superior bullet. There's a lot of people who are going to argue and say a lot of different things. A 9mm is fine for backup, and if you had nothing, but either bullet, if you get hit with them, it's going to probably stop you. But overall, I like the 45 caliber. It's not to say I wouldn't want a 9mm in my inventory, to have. But my main defensive weapon is my 45. I thought about getting one on 9 just because the bullets are cheaper. There is less recoil. They are more accurate. But the 45 is a little bit more expensive. They make just as many rounds. It's a more powerful bullet. And if you have the correct gun, firing this is a charm. A heavier gun is a charm. And they do make low recoil 45s. So when it comes to, the question, I would rather go with a 45 with lower capacity than the 9mm with multiple capacity. Yeah, if you want to go in that scenario of having a lot of bullets, well, why don't you just carry a 5.7, okay, on your hip with a 30 round clip, okay? You probably hit somebody 4 times and they probably wouldn't go down. You hit them once with this, they're gonna stop them. Even if you hit them rather than the 5.7 with the 9, you'd probably stop them. So that's the thing: stopping power, stopping the threat, putting them down fast, ending the conversation. You could put, like I say, a low recoil bullet in here, 230 grain, is going to stop them. Even these round noses, which are target loads, they don't have a lot of muzzle energy. They're not going that fast, but when you get hit with this, you're going to know it. So I did want to, just go basic, because everybody's comparing 9mm and 45. Look at why the military first invented the 45. Look why, they actually developed that for military use. Look why they're using the 9mm. Look at them. They're using the 9mm because it's a NATO round. The round is less recoil for women, a little bit more accurate, and it's not really a man stopper. It's a man wounder. Geneva Convention, NATO. Here is a man stopper, higher recoil, not as accurate. To a degree, it is, depends on what the bullet you have. Just as many rounds, if not more. military was using this for years. And a lot of it has to do, I think, you get some women getting into the military service, the recoil is a little bit too much, the guns are a little too bulkier, and they moved it to make everybody happy. Not saying if you don't get hit with a 9, it's not going to stop you. It sure as hell will stop you, probably. But you want to stop the threat even better. Just wanted to show you that, and hopefully this has shed some light on it. But this is my opinion, just like millions of other people who have opinions. I don't think there's a comparison for the size of the bullet and the hit it's going to give. If it doesn't have a lot of foot-pounds, fine. It's this will stop faster than a high energy 9. And 9 is going to over-penetrate, and you do have a dangerous to hit somebody else. This, chances are, it's not going to over-penetrate. Have a nice day, and I hope the video was interesting.